JATO, one of the most controversial tuning options for some BeamNG speedrunning vehicles. It allows the creation of monstrosities that can outperform 2400 horsepower scintilla setups, and opens the gates for some crazy skips, if you don't have to worry about checkpoints. For a long time, this style of gameplay was believed to be solved. Skips were found, challenges destroyed, and tunes mastercrafted for specific tasks. However, a recent update introduced 6 new missions which became a whole new playground for JATO. This is how speedrunners destroyed them in seconds.
I got it! Oh, I got it! Let's go!
This is Italy. To the general player base, this is probably one of the coolest and most detailed maps in BeamNG. To speedrunners, this is tricky terrain and long stretches of highway. But to the JATO speedrunners, this is one of the greatest and most non-linear maps possible. Look at this hill. It doesn't lead anywhere, there are still bushes, and any other vehicle in the game would avoid it like fire. But for JATO, this is an opportunity. With a bit of tactic, this hill turns into a ramp. With a bit of precision, the launch will be perfectly straight. But only skill will decide whether you make it or not. As funny as it sounds in the game about cars, flight mastery can be the most important factor. After weeks into the new patch, it was discovered that 6 out of 145 new speedrunnable missions didn't have any default vehicle assigned to them. To put it bluntly, any vehicle could be used, including JATO. On top of that, none of these missions has a single checkpoint, which makes them a dream come true, at least for jet-powered vehicles. This is why runners like Wood the Philosopher jumped into them head first and started theory crafting and grinding. Let's look at some of the missions and see how exactly speedrunners pushed time to below any reasonable amount. Let's begin with 3 very similar missions that all start in the same spot. The airport in Italy. Located in the lowlands, the only way from it is up, and this is where a journey starts. There are 3 missions and 3 finishes. Each is located in a different spot across the whole map. Each demands a unique approach. Longest trail by far, at least from those 3, is Airport Chauffeur Vehicle Dealership. This mission literally requires you to cross half of the map. Between start and finish there is a mountain and overall a lot of obstacles. So obviously JATO runners decided to attack it straight and pray. This is the perfect spot to explain how this is even possible. After all, most missions that are jet friendly are also shorter than 1 minute, mainly due to one big problem: fuel. JATO D-Series has 12 seconds of active time, and fuel optimization is a big part of all runs. But not this. The reason is pretty unique, since this option is rarely if ever seen in challenges. Vehicle repair. Most of the time it is simply missing, or in most cases only flip upright is available, and only in limited amounts. But this option is not a simple repair. It fixes the car and puts it straight, but more importantly, it refills fuel, including JATO. All 6 missions are pretty unique. Repair is unlimited and there are no punishments. There are, however, 2 big problems. For starters, repair uses rods to decide which way the car will be facing. When those are missing, it will use the direction of where the car is facing. The second one is even worse. The vehicle must be almost completely still for repair to be available in the first place. This is why the first ever JATO run on Vehicle Dealership was performed without any real strategy. Just launch, land as cleanly and as fast as possible, recover and repeat. Funny, but this record of 1 minute and 50 seconds was broken very fast. It took JATO so long to recover and jump again that skill managed to overtake it by using scintilla. Having a highway at your disposal and more than 2000 horsepower is just that strong. However, in just 5 days it was beaten by more than 40 seconds. You see, the problem with this mission is the mountain. While on paper JATO should just fly over it and land near the finish, this is not the case. While you can jump over it in 2 or 3 full JATO boosts, flat part afterwards is what takes the most time. There is simply no place to launch and land near the finish. Unless, of course, the strategy was the issue. Wolf decided to rethink his whole launch, and after several hours came up with a completely different tactic. Instead of launching at the start, he jumps over the railing and takes the highway. While it might look suboptimal, this is the correct way, because the ramp is located in the town down the road. Being very long, this ramp is extremely good for precision, and by tapping JATO in the air, it's really easy to keep the vehicle straight. However, while jump to the finish is not the biggest problem, getting off the highway is. It requires crashing into a railing. At first glance it might look like a pure form of RNG, but there is a strategy that leads to completely predictable results. Angle and speed here are very important. There is also a normal way, which, while safe, does lose around 10 seconds. But if everything is done correctly, it's time to recover, prepare and take flight. It took Wolf nearly 10 hours of non-stop grind. He did get several finishes, but decided to grind more. Sub 1 minute was on the horizon. At the end, he got his perfect run, with good transition to and from the highway and a smooth flight. Several pixels to the left and he would have missed, but either by luck or precision, he finished with a time of 58.595 seconds. While a vehicle dealership requires a lot of skill and planning, this is nothing compared to what's coming next. Airport chauffeur Marina requires driving from the airport to the far side of Portino. It's a very simple mission at its core. Highway all the way, but not for speedrunners. JATO divides this mission into 2 parts, initial launch and flight. The airport is surrounded by smaller hills, which opens up the way for some crazy options. But among myriad of ramps, the only realistic one is in the far back, located behind bumpy terrain and still bushes. To make matters worse, JATO vehicles are not particularly good off-road. One mistake, a small miscalculation, and the whole run will be nothing short of a complete failure. The other problem is in the flight itself. With bumpy terrain, it's really hard to stabilize the car right before launch. To make it more manageable, Wolf the Philosopher discovered a unique feature of BeamNG. For some reason, when tires are popped, the vehicle will fly more straight. But how do you explode all 4 tires without destroying your run? The answer lies in in-game physics. By gathering a lot of speed, any small jump will make it happen. Speedrunners discovered that one of the hills that can be used for liftoff has the perfect layout. Uphill, a very small plateau, and uphill again. After that, it's all pure skill. While wasting all 12 seconds of fuel for the initial launch might sound appealing, this is a very bad idea. Small boosts in the middle of the flight can help stabilize the car. Just like that, this mission was finished with one single, but not a simple jump. Final time 32.508 seconds. This is both one of the shortest trial time-wise and one of the longest in distance travel, but it's not quite there in both. Time to look at the shortest mission, Airport Chauffeur Castle. As the name suggests, it's a drive from the airport to the castle. You can actually see it from the start. The only thing between you and the finish is a huge mountain, but it's by far the longest mission if done normally. The reason for this is roads that loop around and waste minutes at times. JATO, however, can simply avoid all that. By abusing the repair tool, it is possible to just fly to the finish. This is exactly what happened. By using the hill near the start, Wolf the Philosopher launched himself towards the castle. But it was too high. It ended up requiring 3 repairs to get there. Final time was 1 minute and 35 seconds. This was the very first run performed with JATO, and in just 10 days it was obliterated. More than 1 minute was shaved. It all started with Vulp. A new strategy transformed it into 32-second run. Turns out, by gathering more speed at the start, it is possible to get much further without the need to repair. In fact, it was so impactful that Vulp managed to get to the finish in one cycle, without the need to repair at all. Well, except at the start. But it was Sipari who had gone out of his way to try a more unique approach. Over the years, JATO has seen many iterations, with the most notable being the JATO frame and the JATO engine pioneered by Vulp and Scrat respectively. But some of the lesser known variations, like no back wheels or no tires, were present as well. They were created for very specific tasks like half-pipe, crest rod or sawmill trials. Having less weight made them perfect for these unique one-trick missions. Recently, Sipari managed to take some of the sawmill records using one of those more obscure setups, no rear wheels JATO. This reduces overall weight but has a drastic impact on the air control. Even on sawmill where the jump to the finish is small, air control was the problem. And yet, Sipari tried his luck and skill by using this variant on the mission with a much longer and harder jump. He managed to line up his jump perfectly and get some height via a strategic boost up. Lower weight of this tune helped to completely exclude the need to get more speed via long runs to and from the edge of the map, and saved several seconds, but masterful control in the air sealed the deal. In the end, Sipari managed to get sub 20 seconds and almost sub 19. But now it's time for the longest jump in the whole game, and I will let the video of the run speak for itself.
This is it. Let's go. Let's go.
This is Blanco Delivery, and it requires covering an insane distance. You start in Conca Azzurra and need to make your way to the other side of the map. While the route itself is practically a straight line, this doesn't mean it's short. This is why speedrunners tried to find a way to cut it. Pretty quickly the JATO strategy was discovered. By using one hill on the edge of the starting town, it's pretty easy to launch yourself towards the goal. Even in theory, this jump is ridiculously hard at best. You see, due to how steep this hill is, control during or even right after launch already is a problem. But at later stages, the vehicle can also underperform and lose a lot of speed due to random movements. To battle this, Vulp discovered a unique way to control the car mid-air. By going slightly off-center right before going up the hill, it's totally possible to start spinning. This funny and unorthodox method helps stabilize the car in the air and prevents a huge loss of height due to random movement. That's of course not all. Vulp decided to use a very strange tune for this specific mission. This JATO setup is very similar to the no rear wheels variant, with one exception. It does have wheels. The only reason they are present is the start. This is not a castle mission, and without back wheels it's nearly impossible to get the right liftoff. Previous runs involved a normal JATO frame, but it had one big downside. Weight. Due to the extreme length of this flight, every single kilo matters, and between those two setups, difference is rather huge, around 200 kilos. That led to one big problem: early landing. The JATO frame couldn't get over the mountain and land near the finish. This usually meant a lot of wasted time and additional difficulty in the way of landing, repairs and second flight. However, with a lighter tune, Vulp managed to perform a literal miracle by min-maxing everything. Fuel at the start, strategic boost of JATO in the air, and precise control. After all that, it was enough. Barely. He landed right before finish and got a lucky bounce, finishing with a time of 45.039 seconds. The last two missions require a group of their own, because as of yet, they were not defeated by JATO. The reason for this comes from their name, Freeway Run. Both A and B variations require you to simply drive on the highway to the finish. No tricks, no obstacles, and no real problems. Here, sustained speed is the king, and JATO simply can't compete with the likes of Shantilla, at least for now. If after watching this video you feel like JATO runners pulled off some crazy and near impossible runs, just wait. It's only the beginning. In the near future, these missions, including freeway ones, will be completely broken. With new tricks, tunes, and even crazier physics-bending features, speedrunners are gonna break every record, cutting seconds from each mission and setting a new high, which will eventually be broken again. After all, that is the way of speedrunning, the way of constant improvement. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like or a comment. It's a free way to support what I do. I am Molten Mayhem, and I'll see you in the next one.